What's up, music fans? My name's Jackson. Today I'm going all the way back to 2012, and we're gonna listen to Frank Ocean's Channel Orange today. Frank Ocean, man, what an artist. I think that Blonde is definitely in my top 10 of all time. I think that Frank has this kind of minimalistic potency to his music. I've always just been super intrigued by the really odd intricacies of Frank's music and how he's able to take sounds that you would never anticipate being on a modern R&B record, and he makes them part of a big masterpiece, and it always comes together so beautifully. Of course, I say this only having heard one Frank Ocean project, but I've heard hundreds of features from him, and I think that if he was on that form on Blonde, he had to have been at least pretty close to it on his previous ones also. The reason I'm doing this video now is because Frank has been super vacant for the past couple years, and I'm hoping that this video will provide an omen maybe in terms of him coming back and giving us a new project. We'll see. I would also like to be more prepared and more of a quote-unquote real fan by the time he does release another project. So hey, we got 17 songs today. I do think that I've heard maybe 2 of them, but I'm really excited to make myself more part of Frank Ocean's lore. So let's get started with track number 1. Start. Looks like this track is a short interlude, so while the clip is playing, could you guys do me a favor, go down and make sure you're subscribed? Appreciate you. Oh, dog whistle. Is that PlayStation sound?
A tornado flew around my room before you came. Excuse the mess it made. It usually doesn't rain. And do you, or do you not think so far ahead? 'Cause I've been thinking about forever. Do you think about me still? Do you, or do you not think so far ahead?
Wow, fantastic way to start off this record. I do think that I've probably heard that chorus before because Frank's vocals just get so like fragile. It sounds like they're being held on by a tiny string like this. I really like the exhaustive 808 drums on this track. It's again so simplistic. It's a trademark of Frank Ocean at this point. One thing that's really interesting to me is that Frank sounds like vocally he's in this kind of pocket that Drake was in a lot early on in his career. So I do wonder how Drake influenced Frank on this project and if we'll see any more of that to come. I love the really ambient synthesizers in the background too. They kind of just make this song so much more laid back. It feels like something that Tyler would do. I love how Frank wears his influences on his sleeve and then makes something new out of it.
Spending too much time alone,
and I just ran out of Trojans.
Horses gallop to her throne. Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone. Tidbits of intuition that I be getting up in it. Tonight I lay her in the cradle if it's time to go
that violin.
Go sleep. I sing a linen lullaby. She can have a pretty dream.
It's really cool to see that as exquisite as Blonde is, and as much credit as it gets for being Frank's Mona Lisa, we see so much of those sounds reminiscent here. What's really powerful to me is that as much credit as Blonde gets for being Frank's Mona Lisa, this exquisite record that cannot be recreated, I love to see a lot of these sounds and stylistic choices he used on Blonde right here, but a little bit less developed. It's as if he took those 4 years to look at Channel Orange and be like, okay, what about this can I make even more fragile? What can I make about it more intimate? And how can I craft this into an entirely different sound and one that nobody could bite off of? Because while I think the stripped down down production sounds a lot like Frank Ocean and his newer music, I think that the drums so far have been very poppy. The 808 drum pattern that was there on Thinkin' About You is here on this track, except it's muffled, it's mixed a little bit differently, and I think it's really well done. I just think that it kind of limits the ceiling of the power of Frank's music when you use these really watered down sounds. And again, that's not knocking these songs, it just means that it can't reach Blonde's level on that idea.
Grapevine, mango, peaches, and lime. Sweet life, sweet life, sweet life. Sweet life, sweet life. Sweet, sweet,
I love this guitar.
You've had a landscaper and a housekeeper since you were born. The sunshine always kept you warm. Don't know why I see the world when you got the beach. The sweet life, the best song wasn't single. It's everything I thought it'd be. But this neighborhood is getting trippier every day. The neighborhood is going apeshit crazy. Landscaper since you were born.
Oh yeah, that was my favorite so far, man, for sure. I love the composition of the instrumentals here. The chord progression is so tight. This sounds like a Tyler the Creator kind of produced song, except without the hip-hop elements inside of it. We have this like sunburnt guitar in the background, like the no. And then we have these percussion drums. It's not programmed like they are on the other songs so far, and I think that really adds to the aesthetic here. And then the way Frank's voice is mixed on the chorus especially just makes it sound larger than life. There's this slight sense of reverb, but it also gets a lot louder too, and it works incredibly well. I like the dichotomy between the simplicity of the pre-chorus and the just crazy chorus and how they kind of work together, and then the drums come in and out of the song. It just kind of sounds more of an experience than it does listening to a track.
It's happiness. It's the difference between happy and sad. It's the difference between having a home and living on the streets. That's what it is. It's not just money. It's so much more than that. Right now, it's the difference between you being able to go to a prom and disappointing your boy. Because I told you from the beginning, I don't have money. I have bills to pay. But that meant nothing to me. Absolutely nothing.
Too many bottles of this wine we can't pronounce. Too many bowls of that green, no Lucky Charms. Point the clicker at the tube. I prefer expensive news. New car, new girl, new ice, new glass, new watch, good times, babe. I'm searching for a real love.
We are the Zanny Nashing, Caddy smashing, Bratty assy, Maddie snatched his daddy's jag and used the shit for batting practice. Adam and Annie thrashing, purchasing crappy grams with half the hand of cash you handed. Panic and patch me up, Pappy done latchkeyed us.
Wow, this is super interesting. I love how Frank starts off with this interlude about not just money. It looks like on Genius, this is his friend's mom talking to him about this. And I think this idea of, people who don't have money think that money brings happiness, but then people who have money think that it isn't happiness. I think that's really interesting and pretty indicative of how broken the world is. I mean, it's a lose-lose regardless of whether you have money or don't. The grass is always greener. I like to think of this one Drake interview that he did where he said that, if you have $1 million, well, you can get to $2 million. If you have 2, you can get to 5. So it's just never enough. So then we get to Super Rich Kids, and I love how lush the piano keys and the drums are, and they work in conjunction with each other and the beat. Frank and Earl, who I was not expecting to be on this song, deliver this really interesting delivery, and there's contrast between the lyrics and how they sound. There are different points in Frank's lyrics here where he sounds depressed, he sounds empty, but at some points he just sounds super vibrant and happy as ever. And again, Frank is doing things that artistically portray this idea of the grass is always greener, and I think money is a perfect way to illustrate this for somebody of Frank's caliber. It's just a way to make common subject matter really cool, and that's something I always look for in albums, and I think Frank does it perfectly here.
You always smoking in the house. What if my mother comes over? You can't get up and get a job. Is this little hustle's getting you by? See then, you go reaching up your blouse. And no, I don't want another child, but I ain't been touching a while. By the dealer and the stoner.
Well, the best way I can explain this, yesterday my camera died, I ran out of time to record the video, and yeah, here we are the next day. I stopped listening to the album, so it's still a first reaction, we're still groovy. I think I left off starting to listen to crack rock, but I'm not actually sure, so forgive me if I'm a little off the mark here.
You don't know how little you matter until you're all alone. In the middle of Arkansas, with a little rock left in that glass stick. You used to date a blonde. You're smoking stones in abandoned homes. You're hitting stones and broke your home. Crack, rock, crack, rock.
The first comment on Genius says he outdoes himself in every song, true talent, and I could not agree more. And what's interesting about that comment is that it doesn't necessarily mean that Frank throughout the album has a better song after better song. You can outdo yourself in different parts of songs. For example, I think this one with the instrumentation, the way that the drums were configured, the shuffling percussions, the snares that just kind of collided together to create this really claustrophobic sounding beat, it's oddly organic, yet at the same time it's really hard hitting and kind of sobering. It makes Frank's really drug out kind of deadpan delivery work really well, and he kind of has this feeling to it that is really oddly created. It contrasts with Frank's deadpan delivery so well. There's this feeling here to this song that is so oddly specific, and it's not traditional in terms of how you would usually, you know, get in your bag listening to a track like this, especially from Frank Ocean. I love how Frank is so personal about these larger than life kind of subject matters. He's talking a lot about drugs here and about girls, and he just makes it feel so intimate, which is really odd compared to other artists. I think we compare him to Abel the Weeknd a lot, and one contrast here is that Abel really makes these things sound so big, so maximal, and Frank kind of sounds like he's hiding in them. It's really interesting. This song is 10 minutes, man. Holy cow.
Legion view. They have taken Cleopatra. Run, Cleopatra. Come back for my glory. Our skin like bronze and our hair like cashmere. As we march to the rhythm on the palace floor. Ooh, chandeliers inside the pyramids tremble from the force. Could you run off on me? How could you run off on us? You feel like God inside that ghost. I found you laying down deception in this full head of hair. I found my black queen, Cleopatra. Cleopatra.
Dude, these glittering synths are Tyler the Creator as hell, man. Oh my gosh.
Big sun coming strong through the motel blinds. Wake up to your girl, headed to the pyramid. She's working at the pyramid tonight. Working at the pyramid. Working at the pyramid tonight. Yeah. The way you say my name makes me feel like I'm that nigga, but I'm still unemployed. You say it's big, but you take it.
This guy Frank Ocean is so messed up in the head. Like, who comes up with this? Frank uses this Cleopatra, the pyramid, this ancient Egypt metaphor to portray this relationship he has with a significant other, and he details how it breaks apart. The part 2 kind of talks about how after it breaks apart, they're still kind of like at odds with each other. It's so strange. It's like such an exquisite situation. I think that's what makes the depth of this really cool. The beat switch is so like drug out and crazy. Usually I would criticize a song for that, but here it just feels right. We have a transition that is literally like Tyler the Creator. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if he has a production credit on this song, because we have his trademark glittering synth pattern. We have the transition from the drums of a more organic sound to an 808. We have these really kind of nasally synthesizers coming in on the second half of the track. I love how in the first half there's this kind of eeriness to the instrumental. It's almost as if it's tripping over itself, trying to catch up with you as you run from it, or your ears are at least. Man, I really don't have too much to say about this track other than the fact that Frank hits some crazy vocal notes here, and the fact that he makes a 10-minute song and can entertain you the entire time, especially with John Mayer's guitar solo, it's very impressive.
Double D, big full breast on my baby. He can't take care of you like this. Now you're lost in the heat of it all. Girl, you know you're lost in the thrill of it all. I promise you'll be whipping meals up for a family of her own someday. Nothing wrong with the lie.
That's tight. Yeah, I've heard that one before. I love the juvenile instrumentation to go along with the rather surface level subject matter. Frank rides over this beat so well. I love how there's just no intensity to his lyrics, and there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's a great contrast to what we had just heard. But hey man, it's a hit on a pretty popular album. I don't think I can say much about this song that hasn't already been said. John Mayer has such a like trademark sound to his guitar solos, man.
Mosh pits and beer chests, stage diving, skydiver, spray the crowd with cold water. Now it's mosh pits and wet tits. I think I need a cold shower, cool water. Stage diving, Dalai Lama, feet covered in cut flowers. They mosh for enlightenment. Clean chakra, good karma, hard one with the water. Run, you're beautiful to me. Run, you better run. You mean so much to me. In my world, we made it safely. Taxi driver, be my shrink for the hour. Leave the meter running. Just outrun the demons, could you? He said, Allahu Akbar. I told him don't curse me. Oh boy, you need prayer. I guess it couldn't hurt me. If it brings me to my knees, it's a bad religion. The sun required love. Taxi driver, I swear I've got 3 lives balanced on my head like stick knives. I can't tell you the truth about my disguise. I can't trust no one. And you say Allahu Akbar. If it brings me to my knees, it's a bad religion. Oh, unrequited love. He's nothing but a one-man cause. Hey, I do.
I'm done. I have no words. Okay, so for people who this might be their first video, usually it gets hard for me towards the end of a really good album to like keep articulating myself because I kind of just get, like I run out of words to say. But today, since I broke it up into 2 separate filming days, I shouldn't have that problem. I'm speechless after that track. This whole Bad Religion theme, easily one of the best like takes on a subject, on a topic that I've heard in a long time. Frank obviously making his sexuality clear on this one. Just such an intimate, personal, vulnerable performance, man. I don't think that anybody could do this the way that Frank does, just because of the fragileness of his vocals, his really personal delivery, and just this guy's songwriting skills, man. His lyrics are heartbreaking. And they're so simple, they're so short. His lines aren't really that articulate. But this idea of like, I don't want to go into like detail on how I relate to this, but it sucks. Got nothing else to say about this one.
Mangoes that you could sell for me. What do you think my brain is made for? Is it just a container for the mind? Sincere replied, what is your woman? Is she just a container for the child? That soft pink matter.
I'm gonna freaking cry again. No reaction.
Since you been gone, I've been having withdrawals. You was such a habit to call. I ain't myself at all, had to tell myself no. She better with some fella with a regular job. I didn't want to get her involved. By then, Mr. Benjamin was sitting in awe. Butter knife, water life, anyway. I'm building all the clock stop. What am I, Hemingway? She had the kind of body that would probably intimidate any of them that were unsouthern. Not me, cousin. If models are made for modeling, thick girls are made for cuddling. Switch worlds and we can huddle then. Who needs another friend? I need to hold your hand. You need no other man. We flee to other lands.
Okay, so I've cried during, why am I talking about this? I'll just say, I cried during my Gorillaz Plastic Beach reaction, and I think in one of my The Weeknd reactions, I don't know. That one almost just got me in the end of Frank's second verse. The subject matter, why does he look at things this way? This man, his head, it's heartbreaking that he feels this way about everything in his life. 3 Stacks, come on. I think the way that he raps is so different on his features than he does in the Outkast albums. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that it just comes off way better during his features, man. That's conversational tone. He does it way better than Jay-Z does.
My fingertips and my lips, they burn from the cigarettes. Forrest Gump, you run my mind, boy. I know you're Forrest. I know you wouldn't hurt a beetle, but you're so buff and so strong. Forrest Gump, you run my mind, boy. Running on my mind, boy. Forrest Gump, I saw your game, Forrest.
I think that, I'll be honest guys, my mind is, it's just racing too much. I think I'm done recording this video. Top 5 tracks, I'll put it in the description. Thanks for watching. Happy listening.